Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm diving into the exciting world of fintech and China. What sets the Swiss fintech ecosystem apart from the rest of the world? Where do China and Switzerland have the most potential for collaboration in this field? And what about the future of Cryptoyuan? How will it develop? I was interviewed by the Swiss Consul channel, Philippe Praz, during the Swisstech Day in Shenzhen. I could share my insights and you will get to learn more about this fascinating topic. So if you're interested in fintech, collaboration in between China and Switzerland, or in Cryptoyuan, then you won't want to miss this. Stay tuned for more. Welcome to Connecting the Dots, the channel where I connect the dots in between banking, business and IT, and bridge the gap between banks and startups, as well as business cultures around the world. With 3 decades of experience in the financial sector and almost 10 years of working with startups, I have gained a wealth of knowledge that I want to share with you. In addition, I've had the opportunity to work with many different countries throughout my business career, giving me unique perspectives on how the financial world operates across the borders. By subscribing to my channel, you'll get access to fresh perspectives and thought-provoking content that will expand your knowledge and challenge your thinking. So, if you're ready to explore the intersection of banking, business and IT, and want to learn more from my experiences, hit the subscribe button and join my community. I can't wait to connect the dots with you. In my upcoming video, I'll be sharing my views on the uniqueness of the Swiss fintech ecosystem, the potential for collaboration between China and Switzerland, and the development of Cryptoyuan. I'd love to hear your thoughts and your opinions in the comment section, so make sure to join the conversation.
So, Mark, it seems that you are online.
Excellent.
Okay, perfect. So let me introduce my guest. Mark Lucy is a fintech expert. He's based in Zurich, in Switzerland, and he's working at the accelerator for fintech named F10. I knew Mark in my time when I was in Brazil 5 years ago. And we had the chance to organize several events with Mark in Brazil and with the very dynamic fintech ecosystem from São Paulo. And when it comes to international collaboration, Mark has 2 countries in his focus. One is Brazil, as I already told you. And the second one, guess which country it is? It's China, the second country. Mark has already developed some connection with China. He used to travel a lot to China before the COVID. And I know that he's just expecting to come back to Shenzhen by the second part of this year. So Mark, can you tell us a little bit, what are you doing at F10 in Switzerland?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much for this kind introduction. Yeah, at F10, we're leading the leading Swiss fintech incubator and accelerator. On one side, we scout fintech startups worldwide. On the other side, we work with corporates from the financial sector in order to well understand the needs of the financial sector. So these are corporates such as Julius Baer and of course also the Swiss Stock Exchange and the General Insurance, for instance, and many more. And then we match these 2 parties, the startups and the corporates. Our key success factors, I believe, is that we train these startups in a 5 months program, which is very intense and where they learn everything they need for their success. And in addition, which is important too, we help them to find funding or even F10 invests in these startups as well. And we are like worldwide. We have hubs, of course, in Switzerland, but also in Singapore, in Spain, and in Scandinavia. And we have plans to open new hubs worldwide.
Okay, thank you. I know that you have been working with startups from all over the world. Did you have already the chance to receive Chinese startup at F10 in Switzerland?
Absolutely, yes. It was my great pleasure to have this chance. It was back in 2018. We had a Chinese fintech startup in the ESG area. Swisstech was the name. They made it to the F10 program, and in that program, only max 15 startups are accepted. There's more than 300 usually applying, and 15 we select. So the Chinese one was one of them. And this has been a very fruitful collaboration. Also, I have joined this startup several times when they travel to China for business development. And then also we had other startups, we've been having other startups with just some Chinese co-founders, and the other ones are then Swiss co-founders.
Okay. Coming back to the fintech ecosystem in Switzerland. So we all know Switzerland has a strong banking sector with its long history, but also during the past decades, we have seen the emergence of a very strong fintech ecosystem in Switzerland, maybe one of the most dynamic in the world. So why, in your opinion, or what can they find this fintech company in Switzerland to grow that they cannot find in another place around the planet?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm asked that question a lot, and I ask myself that question a lot. I mean, the one thing is, as you partially already mentioned, right? So the basis is the strong banking sector, then the top level universities, stable political and very supportive system, and the funding, at least for funding rounds up to a few millions. But in the end, other countries have that too. So what is the big difference? I believe in addition to these points, the uniqueness of Switzerland is that we're one big sandbox. It's a little bit like a laboratory. The conditions are pretty much optimal. It is highly efficient and effective. I mean, let's take the example of Zurich, right? So here, banks, government, universities are like in the range of about 1 kilometer. And they're also highly reachable. So, I mean, there are many events here where one quite easily can meet with the banking CEOs, top-level scientists, and politicians. So even in Switzerland, it's not that hard to even meet at events with our federal councillors. And then I think another thing is the Swiss culture. This culture is quite straightforward. So a yes is a yes, and a no is a no. So that means if you're fintech and people don't like what you do, don't like your product, they will tell you clearly. And also when they like it, they will tell you equally. So I believe then that can save you a lot of time, and you know very quickly that you need to adapt and you need to pivot in order to be successful, and you don't lose much time like that.
When we talk about fintech, we also have to talk about cryptocurrency, of course. And we all know that Switzerland is well known as a crypto-friendly country. Ethereum has started to develop its currency in Switzerland. We have some cantons in Switzerland that even accept that you can pay your tax using cryptocurrencies. On the opposite way, if you look at the situation in China, China has decided to go in another direction by forbidding the use of cryptocurrency. And some people and some experts are arguing this was a smart choice. So I don't understand what would be a smart choice in China is not a smart choice in Switzerland, because we have decided to accept and to push the use of the cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and that's we should be very aware of Switzerland when we collaborate with China, right? It's two different systems. Both systems work very, very well, so we can learn from each other by these different systems. So China is a country that can focus on a very clear long-term strategy, right? And in the case of the CBDC, the central bank cryptocurrency, this strategy is stronger financial in China, right? Stronger financial inclusion in the own country, but also beyond, fostering more efficient international trade and reducing dependencies from the dollar, and also further open the Chinese financial market. So these are not so much the challenges we have, and also we cannot have such a clear and long-term strategy due to our system. It's decentralized, and so politically it works different. So for all this, that the crypto renminbi or the DCEP in China is simply the optimal solution. And then one have to understand that the crypto renminbi can have a huge impact on the monetary policy and the economy in general. So one can clearly see that the People's Bank of China is handling this with a lot of care. And then, you know, the decentralized cryptocurrencies just would increase the risk with no real additional benefit, because that strategy can met very well with the crypto yuan. I would not be surprised if, like in the future, there might be cryptocurrencies in China in maybe a few years or so. Then in Switzerland, you know, Switzerland is a very decentralized country. We never will have this kind of strategy at this scale, and we cannot. And it also doesn't make sense, right? We do not have these pain points, as I just mentioned before. We have been having for quite some time a financial system and money transfer and such, which worked very, very well for a long time. So clearly, I believe we will have an e-franc in Switzerland, not in such a dynamic way as it's happening in China. And the traditional cryptocurrencies will and can coexist next to each other, right? So it's a whole different story.
So you have mentioned about digital currency, and we know that China, they have launched their own program already, beginning with 23 cities, and this program, they will gradually expand in other cities. So do we have a similar program in Europe regarding digital currency, and do you see the possibility for the digital yuan to be used in the future for broader operation?
The short answer to your first question, do we have similar projects in Europe, is clearly no, not even close, right? China started in 2014, and I believe China with their development is about 5 to 10 years ahead. In Europe, there are projects, there's testing going on in between central banks. Switzerland, I believe, started these testing someone back in 2020. I think the most advanced in Europe is Sweden. They started in 2017. I believe in Europe, Sweden will be the first country to have an e-krone. And they're also pretty much the only European country which are focusing on the retail sector, where all the other European countries are rather focusing on the wholesale area. I believe in Europe that I mean, there will be a crypto euro, but in the best case, I would say that's going to be into 2026. But to be fair, we have much less pain points here in Europe, so there's not such a strong push, right? And then your second question was about the
use of the digital yuan for cross-border operation.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's always a question like, will it be used for a cross-border operation? And the other one then always is then often like, will it replace the dollar? So the first question, the answer is absolutely yes. On the cross-border side, on the US dollar side, will it replace the US dollar? The answer is absolutely no. So crypto yuan will gain more importance. That's for sure. It will become more important. Dollar will be less dominant. I think the first cross-border transaction in China with the crypto renminbi will happen with Hong Kong and Macau. I believe the first transaction will happen this year. So that very clearly it's not the question if, it's only the question when, right? And then the next step will be, it will go to the RCEP, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, and then on to BRI. I would believe the first transaction here with the RCEP and BRI will happen within the next 2 years. I would guess that in the next 5 years, crypto yuan will have about the same share of trade than the euro has now, which is around 5%. The yuan as such now, not the crypto, but the normal yuan now is around 1%. So it will go up, I believe, within the next few years at the same level as euro, and that would be definitely a success. And all the rest, how it will move on, that has rather to do with geopolitics.
Thank you. The time is running, Mark, but I still have a question for you. If you can answer maybe a little bit quick.
Yes.
The first question is regarding, we always speak about collaboration. Where do you see Phil? You know, we are in Shenzhen, that's the Silicon Valley of China. So where do you see, in which field do you see collaboration between the fintech sector in Switzerland and this player here in China?
Yes, very clearly in the ESG area, right? And there, because ESG means technology, but also needs experience in wealth management and in the investment sector. And to be more concrete, I see collaborations in between ESG fintechs and those fintechs who provide ESG reporting for the SMEs. Right, because the SMEs, one can see it in Switzerland, but even more in China, they need to deliver this kind of ESG reporting. But I mean, they don't really know how to do it. They don't have the technology. So China has technology, Switzerland has technology. In Switzerland, we have quite a long experience with sustainable investment. So that's, to me, on both sides, a clear need. On both sides, supported by governments. So that's where we will have the most success in collaboration.
And I think you already started to answer to the last question, because I know you already have some contact or business contact here in China. In which field are you working?
Absolutely. Exactly. So of course I can talk from experience. So I've been having business partners in exactly that area. So it's the company is called Prestige and Fortune, and we have people here. So we have Chinese colleagues here in Switzerland, but also in China, and they work exactly in that area. So they combine experience from Switzerland, knowledge from Switzerland with technology in China, and they mainly provide this support to Chinese SMEs, and that is really I'm excited how fast and like crazy, in a very good sense, that is moving in China. So that skills and that technology is strongly needed in Switzerland, but even more in China.
Okay, so thank you, Mark. Thank you for your participation today. It was great to have you online, and hopefully we will meet soon, very soon here in Shenzhen, because it seems that's in your intention to travel this.
Absolutely.
I'm already preparing the field here for you and making a network from the FinTech Association and companies here in Shenzhen. So take care.
Excellent.
And see you soon.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and gained valuable insights from it. If you're interested in learning more about the intersection of banking, business, and IT, and how startups and traditional banks can work together, then make sure to subscribe to Connecting the Dots. So hit that subscribe button and join my community.